As you guys know, I'm pretty experienced with M1 Finance nowadays, and I figured I'd do a 100% honest review of it and let you know my opinion, who it's for, who it's not for, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Welcome back, Freedom Savers. So today I'm going to do my 100% honest review of M1 Finance. Hopefully this will help out a lot of people who are considering opening an account with M1 Finance. I've been using M1 Finance for a while now and have become a very experienced user using it. I've done all kinds of stuff, from moving stuff from one Pi to another and dealing with their customer service, and I've just got a bunch of experience dealing with them. I currently have 5 accounts with them. Now, before we start, I just want to clarify that I am not affiliated with M1 Finance in any way, shape, or form, and I get zero compensation for this review. I get no compensation from M1 for any of this. Now, what is M1? Well, it's a brokerage that's really specialized for long-term buy and hold investors. It's not for traders or short-term buy and sell investors. So if you're looking to buy low and sell high and trade within, a month's time frame and that type of stuff, this is not really the brokerage for you. I would go with Robinhood or something else. This is definitely for long-term buy and hold investors. All right, I just want to get that out of the way right away. The best thing about this brokerage is it is completely free. There are no fees associated with setting up your account, with buying stocks, with selling stocks, with withdrawing money. There's no fees for any of it. Some frequently asked questions about M1. How do they make money? Well, they lend securities out to people who want to short stocks and then charge them interest on it. They do that just like any other brokerage does. All the other brokerages make money the same way. They also have M1 Borrow, which is a form of margin account where you can borrow money from them and they charge you interest on that. Another frequently asked question about M1 is my money safe? Because M1 Finance has only been around for a few years and they're a newer brokerage. Well, yes, your money's safe. It's protected by the SIP-C protection up to $500,000, and $250,000 of that can actually be cash. So if M1 went out of business tomorrow, then your money is protected. All right, so let's get into the pros of the M1 Finance. The first pro of M1 Finance is there's no fees. It is completely free. There's no commissions, no transaction costs, no trading fees, no account fees, none of that. And for all you new investors who haven't invested in the market before, in the past, most brokerages charge fees for any buy or sell transaction that you made. So say I wanted to buy only one share of Amazon, right, for $1,500 or whatever. Well, they would charge a commission for me to buy that. So I not only would have to have the money to buy the share, the price of the share, I'd also have to pay a percentage in commission fees to the brokerage. And then if I wanted to sell it, I again have to pay a commission to the brokerage. So investing wasn't really that accessible to most independent investors because you'd want to save up enough money to buy multiple shares to make it worth your time to pay that commission, because that commission could take a big chunk out of your profits. Nowadays, we have free trading on lots of apps now. You got M1, you got Robinhood, you got, what was the other one? Something Bull. You got First Trade, you got, there's all kinds of them going free. And even the big brokerages like Vanguard and all of the big ones have some free aspect to them, although they're not completely free like M1 and some of these other ones are. So number one is they're completely free. Number two, they have great customer service. When you call them, it rings a few times and boom, you get a human being. Human being answers. They're very helpful. They answer all your questions, help you out, and they're very knowledgeable. They're awesome. Their customer service is amazing. I've used them multiple times just to ask them questions about the account and why it did certain things and all the little quirks of M1, because it does have some quirks that you have to get used to. The other part, the huge benefit of M1 is partial shares. So you can buy expensive stocks for small amounts. You can have a very well diversified portfolio without having a lot to invest in the first place to start with. Partial shares also allow your money to work for you. It allows all of your money to work for you instead of just waiting until you have enough money build up to buy a full share and just sitting in your account. So there's all kinds of advantages to having partial shares. And to me, that is number two, next to being completely free of fees. Number two biggest advantage is partial shares. So if I want to buy $50 of Amazon, I can buy $50 of Amazon, even though their price currently for one share is $1,461.64. So as you can see, I personally own 0.03537 shares of Amazon. So less than one share of Amazon. The other great thing about M1 Finance is the auto investing of your cash. It'll automatically invest into your set weightings for your portfolio. So if you want 1% here, 5% here, 8% here, it'll automatically put your money in there at those weightings. It'll automatically rebalance your portfolio. So like you see here, ABM Industries, it went up in value since I purchased it. So it is actually overweight. And you can see that it is actually 1.1% of my portfolio when I've only got it set to be 1%. So what happens is next time I deposit money, it won't buy ABM. Instead, it'll put money in all the other stocks until they catch up to ABM. And the same thing if a stock drops. If a price drops and it's undervalued, it'll put more money into that than it will the ones that are at weight until it gets up to weight. I know that sounded a little confusing, but basically what it comes down to is it will maintain the balance of your portfolio at the weightings that you want. So we can come over here to, say, this one. And you can see I've got 50% here and 49.9% here. So it's first going to put my money in here until it reaches 50%. Then it'll balance out to keep these two slices even. So the auto rebalancing feature is really nice. And it also has the added benefit of purchasing more shares when the price is low and less shares when the price is high, which is exactly what you want. So when a stock's value drops, then of course it's going to buy more shares because it's underweight. And when the stock's price goes up, like ABM, it's going to buy less shares because it went up and it's overweight. You can set up your auto deposits. You can set them up every day, every week, every month, however you like, on whatever days you like. So I actually had mine being deposited every single day into my Roth. I've canceled a bunch of those at this point because we're at the end of the year and coming into January. But I will be depositing every single day again starting January, which gives me dollar cost averaging, where it doesn't matter what the price is, whether it goes up or down on stocks, I'm depositing the same amount every day. And therefore it's going to buy stocks every single day, and I'm going to get the average price. So when the prices go down, I buy more. When the prices go up, I buy less. The other great thing about M1 is it is self-managed. You can add stocks and ETFs and whatever you want in here, and you can remove them. You can add and remove and change it however you like at any time. All you gotta do is come in here and add, edit. You can remove a slice, you can add slices, come in here and find the company that you want. Say I want MasterCard. I can come in here and add that, etc., etc. So it's nice and easy to change your portfolio and your stocks, and you have complete control over what you invest in. And if you're new and you don't know what to invest in, it also has expert pies. So you can come in here and say, I want to be a dividend investor, so I want income portfolios. And you can come in here and look at those, and you got bonds, you got global, you got domestic. They have some preset pies set up in here. So if we go domestic, and then you look at what they have in here, they have the Vanguard Div Appreciation Fund, Wisdom Tree Mid-Cap Dividend Fund, and another small cap fund. You've got the bank balance sheet one, which they've set up, just some different funds in there. Same thing with the bonds, different funds in there. So they've got these possibilities. So say that you just want general investing, and what's your risk tolerance? Oh, let's say we want an aggressive portfolio. In the aggressive portfolio, you can see they've got a bunch of funds in here. I got most of the money going into developed markets and then the S&P and small caps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they have some pies already set up for beginners. If you're new to investing and you just want to get investing into something good, most of these are pretty good options depending on what you want to pick. I've also created a starter portfolio down below, 2 of them actually, one with only individual stocks and one that also includes the S&P 500 index and some bonds. And so if you're just getting started, I highly suggest that you use one of those. Also on the self-managing of the portfolio, you can come into funding. You can tell it never to invest your cash if you want, or you can tell it to only invest cash over $300 if you want. So you can change this however you want. You can either have it auto invest your money, don't auto invest it, or only auto invest once it reaches a certain amount. So I love having the control over my portfolio at all times. The other thing with M1 is they offer a wide variety of accounts. They have the normal taxable individual accounts. You can set up a joint account with your partner. You have the traditional IRA. You have the Roth IRA, which I highly suggest, Roth IRA. Get your Roth if you don't have one. And you can set up trusts. You can buy individual stocks, ETFs, whatever weighting you want. If you want to say that I want to buy a particular stock, say that a particular stock is on sale right now. It's dropped in price, but I know it's a great company and I want to purchase it. So let's say that company is, I don't know, Gladstone Commercial. So if I want to buy only Gladstone Commercial, then all I've got to do is go to Gladstone Commercial, and I'm just going to find it over here because it's easier. Just click the Gladstone Commercial. It'll bring up that particular company. Here, all you got to do is hit buy, sell, and put in whatever amount you want to buy. So I want to buy $50 worth of that. Then what will happen is during the trading window, when it does its trades, it will put the first $50 into that, and any additional money it will automatically divide according to your weighting. So it's still possible to buy and sell individual stocks just like you want, but you can't necessarily catch the right price that you want. So again, M1 is for long-term investors. It's not for buying and selling and trading stocks on a regular basis. They have one trading window, so you're unable to do that. It's easy to set up with all these pies. You can set up your own pies if you want. I've set up a bunch of different pies in here. So here's a great start portfolio that I set up with just individual stocks. And here's one where I've added ETFs to the mix, which is the Vanguard VU, S&P 500, and the Total Bond Stock Market. So I've went in here and added them. I've edited, added it, changed it however I wanted. And you can do this as many times as you want. As you can see, I have quite a few pies set up in here. It has all the major stocks and ETFs from the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and BATS. The only thing it doesn't really have is penny stocks and that type of stuff. It doesn't have like full mutual funds or anything like that either. But as you can see, all the funds, it's got a great list of ETFs in here. And it's got 1,900 ETFs and over 4,200 actual individual stocks. The other thing that's nice about this is you can set up multiple accounts under one login. As you can see, I have 5 right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 apparently. I tried to set up one earlier and it didn't set up properly, and then I set up another one that worked. So apparently that one finally kicked in on me and now it's working. So anyway, I have 6 different portfolios set up with M1, 6 different accounts there. I believe, according to the frequently asked questions, you can have up to 10, but I have seen people with more than 10 set up. Now, whether they're able to actually fund all those, I don't know. So I'm going to say that you can have at least 10 individual accounts on one login. So that's very nice and very handy. As you can see, I can switch from my IRA to my aggressive dividend portfolio, to my random portfolio, to my brand new one that I'm setting up right now, my no debt allowed portfolio, to just individual portfolios. So it's really nice feature to have that, and I can just flip between them and control all my money. It's awesome. M1 Finance is great for both beginners and experienced investors. Beginners can just pick ETFs to start with, and experienced investors can invest in individual stocks and build complicated portfolios. It also provides those expert pies I showed you, which are pre-built pies for beginners. And then you can modify all those as well. So you can take one of those pies, add it to portfolio, take out what you don't want, add what you want, and modify any way that you want. So pretty awesome for that. The mobile app is great, and it basically allows you to do everything that you can do on the website, all there right there on your app. And the last thing is, did I mention it's free? Completely free, guys. No fees. In this day and age, there's no excuse not to invest. All right, now we'll move on to what I consider a neutral item about M1. And it's not really a pro or a con, but that would be that to set up a taxable account, your first deposit has to be $100. And to set up an IRA, your first deposit has to be $500. Now that could be considered a bad thing because other places allow you to invest with no minimum, or it could be considered a good thing because those are very small amounts to get started investing. All right, so those are all the great things about M1 Finance and why I highly recommend them. Let's get into the cons of M1 Finance. What is bad about M1 Finance? Well, the first and foremost and the biggest con is that you can't pick the price to buy at. You can't set a limit order and say, hey, buy this stock when it reaches 41 bucks. You can't do that. There's only one buying window per day. It happens at 9 a.m. Central Time. So you have no control over when they buy. It always happens at 9 a.m. Central Time. They take all the transactions and just process them through. So all of your buys and sells could happen at 9 a.m. They could happen at 9:15. They could happen at 9:23. You have no control over that. So you can't necessarily buy when prices are low and then sell once they go up in value and that type of stuff. Now you can do it, but you just don't have control over the exact timing of that. So if the prices change before that trading window kicks in and trades your stocks, then you won't necessarily get the price that you were hoping to get. That is a big downfall to M1 Finance. They are considering opening up a second trading window, which would be great. So that way they'll have one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And that will be much more useful. But if you're a long-term investor, you're buying at the current market price because you're dollar averaging in, and you're planning on keeping these stocks forever, or for at least a long term of time. So if you have that long-term perspective, then that is not a big deal. If you're really concerned about getting the price that you want, then yeah, M1 Finance is probably not for you. The other thing that is a bad or con to M1 Finance is rearranging your pies. So in my crazy aggressive dividends portfolio here, I just redid this. So what I basically had is I had these stocks individually, like my pie basically looked like this, and I moved them, I wanted to move them as one slice of this entire pie, and then have this slice as two more pies with more stocks inside those. So setting this up was way more complicated than it should be. The software developers for M1 Finance really should have had this done a nice, easy way. I should have easily been able to take these and say move to a different pie, and it would have been done. Instead, what you have to do is you have to go into each one, sell them, and then go into the other one and buy them, and then it cancels out each other and it moves the stock. It's not that hard to accomplish once you know how to do it, but figuring out how to do it was pretty complicated, and they could have made it so much easier and so much user-friendly to do that. The other big con for M1 is their weighted average calculations. So when they figure out your return and your gain and loss, it is a weighted average calculation based on all of your deposits, all of your withdrawals, all the dividends paid, all that good stuff. So the numbers do not add up to a simple calculation or a simple gain and loss. So it gives you a general idea of how much you've gained and lost, and they do it supposedly to be more accurate, but for me, I just want the simple, hey, am I up or down by how much? And simple math would accomplish that just fine. Instead, they use a complicated weighted formula that just makes the weightings and numbers off. So when I come into holdings, this may say I'm up 2.91%, but when I do my own simple calculation of how much I actually put into it and what the current value of it is, instead of being up 334, I could be up $3.58, or I could be up $3.02. It's not a fully accurate number. At a glance, it gives you an idea, but without having it calculated yourself on a spreadsheet or something, these are not super reliable to count on. So that is a downfall of M1. It's something I've gotten used to, and it doesn't bug me anymore as much because I have my own spreadsheet where I keep track of all my gains and losses. And I'll just open up my Roth here real fast. So over here, I automatically figure out my gains and losses based on what I've actually paid and my average price. So for me, that's not a big deal, but the numbers can be skewed a little bit. The other downfall to M1, well, for certain types of investors, would be the fact that they don't have any options, annuities, any of that type of stuff. They only have stocks and ETFs. Again, this broker isn't really made for traders. It's made for long-term investors. And along those lines, one more downfall would be their research section. So the research section on a stock, it doesn't give you a lot of information. It gives you a little bit of information, right? Their PE ratio, dividend yields, market caps, that type of stuff. You come in here, but that's all you have. All right, that's all of the information that it provides, and then some history of what returns were on it if you were to invest $100. But that's it. That's all you've got. So when it comes to researching stocks and getting the details of financials and everything that you need to research companies, M1 does not provide all of that information in here. It's not a big deal. You use outside websites. You should be looking at financial websites anyway to get all of your financials and stuff on companies. I would suggest that you use all of these websites to get all of your data, and then decide what companies you want to purchase, and then you can purchase them with M1 completely free. So that's all the pros and all the cons I can think of with M1. I've used it for quite a while now. As I said, I've got 5-6 accounts with them. I plan to continue using them for many years to come. It is for long-term investors, not traders. The biggest advantages and pros are that it's completely free and it provides partial shares, so all of your money's invested. And the biggest downfalls are that you can't pick your own prices, and there's not a lot of research that you can do inside the app or website. If you want to open an account with them, feel free to use my link in the description of this video and you'll get a free $10. That only applies if you're opening a taxable account, non-IRA. I suggest that you do open a Roth IRA first if you don't have one, and if you have $500 to get started. The Roth IRA is the best investment tool that you can get right now. If you don't have one, open one. If you can only invest $100 at the moment, then feel free to go ahead and open up an individual account and just get investing. If you have any questions I haven't answered today, drop me a comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. And again, I'll mention that in my description, I do have a great well-diversified portfolio or pie linked down there. All you gotta do is click it, it'll open up the pie for you and you can add it to your own portfolio. Feel free to use it as you want, modify it however you like. It's just some pies I put together for beginners and people starting investing, so they don't get sidetracked and start buying stuff that they really shouldn't be buying. So I would start with those portfolios. If you go with the individual stock one, it has 24 individual stocks in it. All of those are long-term performers with long histories. If you go with the other one, which if you are new, I highly suggest you go with the one with ETFs, because it gives you more diversification in the S&P 500 and bond market, as well as the same 24 individual stocks that I put together originally. So that's all I've got. M1 Finance is a great tool for long-term investors. It is a horrible tool for short-term investors. That's what it really comes down to. If you're into dividend investing like me, it's fabulous because those dividends will automatically reinvest back in to your pie and get reinvested, and all your money is always working for you. So that's my review on M1. If you have any questions or want to know how to do anything in particular in M1 Finance, let me know, and I'll be happy to either make a video on it or just answer your question. On another note, I did just reach 100 subscribers today. I had reached it previously, but right after I reached it, a bunch of people unsubscribed. I think there were just people trying to help me out by subscribing to my channel, because I posted it on Facebook. So I think it was just like friends and family. And once they saw I reached the 100 mark, they just pulled back out because they weren't really interested. But today I officially reached the 100 mark of what I believe to be authentic users. And I appreciate the support by all of you. Hopefully I'm providing some value to you, giving you some entertaining portfolios and some stock market knowledge, and getting you motivated to invest for your future. If there's anything I can do to help out, let me know. If you have any questions, drop me a comment and I'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching, everybody. But blah, 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 blah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and if you liked the video, hit that like button for me. If you want to hear any specific type of information, anything that you're interested in, you have any questions, just drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know your opinions on this video or any other video I've made. And if you know anyone else that might be interested in this video, please be sure to share it on your social media and share the knowledge. Thanks, guys.